make money, make muscles, learn game. If you're listening to me, you're a hot dude. The hot dude life is not about your physical appearance. The hot dude life is a mentality. The Hot Dude Army is a global network, and the Hot Dude Army is everywhere. Decrease your judgment of others and increase the judgment of yourself. So you belong to the streets, huh?
100%.
It starts with learning dating, and then you move on to something to push humanity forward. That is the philosophy of modern life dating.
This is a textbook example of really good game.
It's 2021. The world has changed, and time is now the ultimate luxury. Men living in this age are still haunted by the eternal question, what do women want? You see, there's a lot of noise out there in this digital space, and that's just what it is. Noise. Bad advice. Endless swiping. Ghosting. Headaches. Money lost. You see, those are problems for the average man. And you don't want to be average, do you? I've left that world of frustration behind. Any woman, any city, around the globe, I have the ultimate system to scan and find women that are ready to be with me now. We aren't talking about small petty things such as a one-night stand or even multiple weak flings, although my system allows you to get that very easily. But I'm talking about getting something far more powerful. Power, desire, true love, lust, admiration, submission, servitude, and much more. There's a way to achieve all of this, but there's just one question that stands in your way. Are you ready to take the dark pass? Boom, baby. We are live. Welcome to Interview with the Man, episode number 435. I'm here with my very, very good friend in real life, Mateo from Attraction Japan.
What's up, dude, man? It's good to join you here. We're here living the life here in Tokyo, Japan.
Yes, indeed. Let me just, guys, make sure you let me know if you can hear us both on these microphone setup. This is the first time doing double mics here, so just let us know if the microphones are coming in cool or not, because it's the first time doing this, but eventually it's going to be all smoothed out and working out pretty well. Mateo, mic not coming in?
Not coming in. What up, team?
Oh, My bad. Turn up.
Yo, yo, yo,
There.
yo, yo, yo.
There we go.
Maybe we can hear me.
Yeah. I had the wrong one up.
All right, all right.
Cool. So okay, there we go. First time Mateo's in there. Yeah, man. Welcome.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate you. I appreciate this.
So I've been on this kick lately, and I've just been talking about how my biggest thing that I've been noticing with this thing in our corner of the internet, if you will, is people just seem to think that the only way to verify if somebody has skills or not in our area, our subsection of the internet, is you need infields and you need receipts and you need a large subscriber count, right? But they don't seem to realize that all three of these can easily be faked. And my biggest thing is that I don't know, dude. Like I want to help all these guys, but like, I mean, you know, the average guy is just fucked.
Yeah, I mean, it's tricky, man. Like, I mean, people like want both. You know, they want to feel like they're improving, right? But it is hard. Like you said, like these things can be easily faked. And that's kind of like why, like, I sort of almost like I take like a back seat in like the whole community or society or the world, right? Because like,
Yeah.
you know, in terms of game or the manosphere or the red pill world or whatever, right? Like, I almost like am just kind of like chilling, like I'm just living my life basically, right?
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like I've always said this all the time, is that the most ultra players, the guys that are like living the life that you live, they're not like living on the internet writing about it all the time. They're not like writing blogs and making videos and all this stuff. Like they're out there fucking a lot of chicks.
Yeah, I mean, like I would probably be a lot more productive. I'd probably like, you know, I'd probably be doing a lot better job at my my YouTube channel and everything if I was actually coming out with regular content. But I am just, I mean, I'm just a degenerate human being that is addicted to women, man. Come better, you know, for good or for worse. You know, it is what it is. But like,
I've been there. I'm still kind of there.
Yeah.
How long have you been like doing this whole womanizing thing? Because you're 31 now.
Yeah, I'm 32.
32.
So yeah, basically like, I mean, in Japan, 10 years basically, right?
Oh wow.
So yeah, I've been gaming 10 years in Japan, and then a few years before that, right, in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, like I was in university back then, so you know, I was living with girls, like so. It's like it's not that hard, right? Like if you're literally living in a dorm or something with girls, and you know they're drinking, and you're living with them, and you know there's mixed genders or something. It's not that hard to just like, you know, it's not an issue, right? Like they have long enough, they're forced to kind of be in the same area long enough with you that some of them are going to automatically like you for the most part.
Just unless you're fall like for you, yeah.
Yeah, unless you're like an absolute weirdo, right? And then fair enough. I mean, like, you know, shout out to the absolute weirdos out there, but you know, absolute weirdos need love too. Community. They need love too, right? They need love too. But what I mean was like it was never an issue for me to meeting girls, right?
Right.
When I was in university, right? But then I came to Japan, I was like, in my mind, I was like, damn, it's gonna be easy. It's gonna be like fucking like Thailand. It's gonna be like girls just like, oh my God, foreign man, let me spread my legs for you, right? And I came here I had a rude awakening.
Let's stuff that fucking rumor right into the garbage where it belongs, because a lot of people just think like, okay, we're foreign guys in Japan, therefore as soon as we get off the plane, there's just like an army of girls after our dicks.
Yeah.
And they just say like, you know, the black pill guys, they say JBW, just be white. So
Right,
you're not white. I'm only half white, but I definitely don't look white at all.
I mean, I think it probably was like that in the 80s. Like,
Yes.
I think it probably was like that, right?
Yeah.
You know, like I talk to guys who are here. Like I'll meet guys who are like, you know, in their 50s and 60s or something. They'd be like, yeah, like you remind me a lot of me when I was back in, you know. And I was like, nah, man, it's a completely different game right now, right?
Yeah.
It is a completely different game. It's kind of the same thing with globalization in general, right? Like the more that globalization happens, the more that like the differences between countries even out, but
Yeah.
the difference between the city and like the countryside kind of gets bigger, right? So like, you know, like a place like Tokyo or something is like, it all kind of evens out basically. Like the money kind of, you know, it's like when you have like a river flowing into the ocean and like you get the blending of the salt water and the fresh water or whatever, right?
Right.
So yeah, I mean, like I think like, yeah, back in the 80s when there were less kind of lame dudes, just like lame foreign dudes in Japan, like the only dudes here were basically like semi gods, like either they're like investment bankers or like, you know, semiconductor electrical engineers,
Right.
or even in the 80s I think English speakers in Japan were like quite well esteemed, right? But
Oh yeah.
but like now kind of girls are basically like I kind of like know the kind of guy who comes over here, like they're like, you probably just like go home and masturbate to anime porn and like you know, like you probably just like have like some shitty salary and you're just eating like rice balls and like
Yeah.
convenience sandwiches.
I
Like,
think
they're
it's-
kind of
I-
on, they're
it's-
wise to the game.
I
Right
think
now.
it's harder now for foreigner guys than
Yeah.
it was a couple years ago. I think Japanese girls have kind of become a little bit more anti-foreigner, actually.
Yeah.
You know, and before it was easier. I would say like even as far as like early 2000s, I'd say it was easier. But then, you know, having access to Instagram, having access to YouTube, like the elusiveness, like the magic of being a foreigner. You could just type it into a keyboard and be like, oh, you know, because before they would have to like go get a magazine or like go rent a DVD and like be like, okay, like I can look and see this foreigner, and they had to take like a super like effort based decision to like look into this shit. And there's still girls like that, but yeah, I just think it's so much easier. They have their smartphone, they can just whip out and be like, what does a white dude look like naked? And then you know, I mean, there's girls that do that. But yeah, I think that's like a huge rumor that a lot of guys kind of gravitate to, and it was a rude awakening. You say it was a rude awakening for you when you got here?
Yeah, it was. I mean, like I thought it was like, and if people like are expecting that, like, I mean, I think there's still places like that, like the Philippines or Indonesia or even Thailand, like Thailand as well, right? Are all quite like, I think there is still that the dream is alive, right? In terms of like, you know, like Asian peasant girls trying to escape their own reality through, you know, foreign guys who are going to whisk them off and be their prince or whatever, right? But that's definitely not the case in Japan right now. If anything, right? If anything in Japan, like the girls who like foreign guys are almost like they're kind of already damaged goods, basically, right? They're like they're basically weird, right? Yeah. So it's like it's gone to like a out of fashion,
Yeah.
basically, right? So
I'm laughing because it's so fucking true. It's just funny. It's like it's a breath of fresh air to like talk to somebody on the air who actually gets it.
Yeah,
For like giving them, you know, the only shout out to Mac the Day Gamer. He's in the chat. You know, he gets it as well. And but yeah, like
I think I've seen this dude like the last 3 days in a row or something. Like I was on a boot camp, so I couldn't really say hi, but I think I've seen that guy. I think I've seen that guy on the streets. I know he's approaching. I know he's out there.
he is definitely out there making work happen for sure. You talk about receipts, but if he posts those on YouTube, he'll get completely banned. So why you came here when you were 10 years ago, 22 years old? Why did you come to Japan? Why come Japan?
Yeah. I mean, that's the ultimate question, right? Like, I mean, I think basically like at the time the economy was a bit shit. Like I just graduated school. I was like, look, like, am I gonna be a neuroscientist or am I gonna go fuck around and live abroad? And I guess the rest is history.
What did you major in?
Psychology and like cognitive neuroscience, basically.
High five, me too.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was like, look, am I gonna go to medical school and like fucking become a doctor and
That's
like
so
cut
crazy.
people's brains open?
I was
or
same thing. I was pre-med.
yeah.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah. So and then I was like, or am I just gonna go fuck around and have fun for a while? And I started doing that, and I got sucked into the wonderful magical world of fast sex with strange women in short amounts of time, and I haven't looked back since, I guess. I don't know.
Why would you?
Yeah.
Did you have like the typical kind of like red pill like dork story? Like I was a loser and I didn't fuck girls, and then I or did you always kind of have a little swag and you're just kind of fine tuning it?
No, man. I mean, in high school and everything, I would just like eat like, like there was the cafeteria and there was like the back of the high school, and I would like go out there with my like 3 or 4 friends, and every day we just eat like away from everybody, and like I've like all sorts of embarrassing stories of girls who like very clearly, now that I look back on it, were like throwing themselves onto me, right? And like girls who, like the girl that I was sitting next to in class, and like I was into her, and I was like, I would go home and dream about her, but like I never like figured it out that like all I needed to do was like, hey, just like ask her to hang out and bring her somewhere private, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think it's obvious for a lot of people, right?
It's not. It's painfully not obvious for a lot of guys.
Yeah, yeah. So that's good. I mean, it is like it's like a sign of hope, I guess, right? Because like, yeah, I was like massively introverted, right? And I got to university and I was like, you know what, like I need to change this about myself, right? Like I could see like the trajectory that my life was on, especially with regards to women. I was like, I don't want this to be my destiny, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I need to change this. I need to like, and to change this, I have to like basically kill the person that I grew up being, right? Or at least to a certain degree, right? So I had to like be like, I gotta like actively go out there and put myself in uncomfortable situations, right? Even though it's not really what I want to do, right? And I had some like, obviously there's hurdles, difficulties and everything, but luckily it was in university, so I was kind of like thrown into the situation where there were other girls around, right? But yeah, all that goes back to when I came to Japan, and like all of a sudden I was like, wait, like I was expecting to be in this land of milk and plenty.
Just hold the mic up a little bit more to you.
Like closer?
Yeah, that's it.
All right. Yeah, I was expecting to be in the land of, milk and plenty, or milk and honey, or, pussy juice, or whatever it might be. But I came here and I was like, wait a minute, like none of these girls are like trying to like, throw themselves onto me, right? And if they were, they're not really like the best girls anyway, right? So yeah, I mean, like that was an awakening, and basically like I was like going out and I would go to bars or something, or social events, and I mean the big life changer was basically just cold approach for me, right? So and it was uncomfortable, it was painful basically at first, right?
You hate online dating.
Yeah, I fucking hate online dating, man. Like I think it's like just basically onanism, mental masturbation. I don't think there's I think there's basically no good girls on online dating. I don't know. I mean, that's just I feel like you gotta go out there, you gotta feel the sun on your skin, talk to a girl, like you can smell her pheromones, even if it's like you're only a couple feet away from her.
Yeah.
You can smell her pheromones. You can see, okay, this girl's not fat, or whatever it is. I mean, who knows? Maybe you like fat girls. I'm not here to judge.
You can see what you're getting.
Yeah, you can see what you're getting, right?
Yeah.
Very clearly and very quickly, right? And she as well can see what you're getting, right? So, I mean, the main thing is like I'm not trying to sit there and text somebody that I've never even met before, right? Like that's just not like, I basically hate texting, right? I hate texting girls, especially ones that I have not even met yet, right? So it's just like my kind of kryptonite, right? Like, and I'll get into the phase of it. I'll get into like the time where like I'm be like, all right, I'm gonna commit to texting. I'm gonna like send her like unique and interesting things and all that stuff, right? Or I'll go to other countries and where online game is kind of like how you kind of have to do it, right? Like if you go to Jakarta, Indonesia or something, like you basically kind of have to use online. You're not gonna like really approach girls. Like the whole city kind of sucks. Like there's not really a lot of people walking around outside. There's no place to really approach.
Really?
Right. So, and it's Muslim too, right? So basically you have to just do online dating in a place like Jakarta, right? So, but in Japan, like you're just blessed because there's like so many people walking around outside.
Everywhere.
Right? Yeah.
Everywhere.
Like you can just walk down the street and like there's crazy amounts of like just pretty girls like just walking there, right? So
people agreeing with you in the chat. Gareth says Jakarta is a shithole.
Yeah, it's a shithole. I mean, like it is a pretty shitty city. I will say though that there's some amazing girls there, very very sexual curvy girls. It's like the Latin America of Asia, right?
Really?
Yeah, the girls have like insane bodies, man. Like it's definitely worth a visit. The city itself does suck. Like basically like you're either in a taxi or in a shopping mall, right? And like it's either raining or like smoggy or like there's like loud Islamic chants over speakers. I don't know. Basically like it's not like a place you're gonna walk around and enjoy yourself outside like Japan or something, right?
Oh wow.
But the girls are, I mean, like if you sift through them, there's quite a lot of sexual, curvy, attractive girls, you know, feminine and everything, and super doting and like caring, right, and devoted, right. Like I met some girls there from like 3 years ago. They still message me like almost every day. They're like, "Hey baby, what are you doing today?" Like I basically give them no attention, and like 4 years later, they're still like, "Hey baby, how are you?" And they send me a selfie, like almost like at least 2 or 3 times a week, right? I basically say nothing to them. Like I don't actually really like care about continuing this relationship, but they're just like, you know, they still remember me and they're still like.
How long were you there?
I went through a period where I would go back maybe like, I've been there maybe between 7 and 8 or 9 times, right?
Oh wow.
So I got quite liked it, and there was a girl that I really liked there. That was quite a bit ago, but basically the girls there are I think they're pretty fire, right? You got to dig through like a lot of riffraff and, you know, girls who are either extremely religious or whatever, but it's in a unique position where there's not a lot of tourists. Like there's nothing for people to do there basically, right? It's not like Bangkok where you can like go to a beach or go see temples or
Bangkok's
something.
Bangkok's crazy.
Yeah, Bangkok's cool. Bangkok's crazy. There's a lot of tourists there. It's like very well on the tourist trail, right?
Yeah.
But Jakarta's not at all like that. Like you don't get like the only people that are there are like kind of like some business people, but like tourists don't really go there because there's nothing to do. Basically, there's nothing at all there.
So you just went there like strictly to fuck hoes?
Just to fuck hoes, basically. Right?
My man.
And Indonesia itself is a beautiful country. It's like one of the most like, and the food is amazing. The country's beautiful. The
Super cheap too, right?
Yeah, super cheap. It's a great country to go to.
If a guy wanted to go to Indonesia for like 1 week, how much US dollars would he need for a good time?
Oh man, I mean it's quite cheap, right? Like, I mean you could probably get like a quite nice apartment for like 30-40 US a night.
Mm-hmm.
And then the food, I mean, if you want to eat local, it could be a couple dollars a day, right?
Oh, wow.
If you want to eat like Western food, maybe like $10 per meal or something, right? If you want to eat like nice, posh Western food, right?
Wow.
Yeah, but I mean, it's quite cheap. It's quite cheap. I think it's like one of those places that like when everything opens up and it's gonna be one of those places to go. I think it's like definitely like off the beaten path.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Man, that's wild. What brought you to going to Indonesia? Was it reading blogs or because that's kind of I've only thought to go to Bali because it's a tourist trap.
Right. Bali is good, but I guess my mic is not. I can't really put my mic closer.
No, I
don't know if it gets louder, but
it does. When you hold it closer, it's fine.
No, I mean it's quite close, but
yeah, that's perfect right there.
All right.
Yeah. So were you reading blogs and that's what it was?
Yeah, like I also like originally liked just like Bali and, you know, Sumatra. I went there just for traveling because I'm interested in traveling and all that. But I went to Jakarta and I had a great time there, right? And I heard kind of through the rumors, through the grapevines, that it was a good place to just like go to like certain bars and date and everything, and it was basically it was kind of a paradise in a way, right? Untouched.
That's crazy
area. I mean, like they're Muslim basically. There are Christians there too, but they're quite devoted, right? Quite feminine, right? They have a lot of like values which are, you know, worthwhile basically, and kind of forgotten in the West, right?
Yeah.
So,
could you honestly see yourself living in America after being over here and just experiencing feminine women?
Oh, I mean, hell no. No, there's no way I can live in the US.
I get depressed every time I go back. Like I have to smoke weed to like
to
numb myself to like how bad it is.
Yeah.
I feel bad for the guys in America, but at the same time, like they don't know. Like I was watching when I see like some of these manosphere creators, red pill people, like America's the best country in the world. I'm like,
Yeah, it does a lot of things well, and then like it also doesn't, right?
no, it's not the best country in the world. Like, especially, dude, I firmly believe American women are the worst women in the world today.
Yeah, they're pretty fucking bad. I mean, like Aussie women are pretty bad too, and like British, basically like Anglosphere women are pretty awful for the most part, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Canada, America,
Yeah.
Britain, Australia. Australian women are a second close to being disgusting.
yeah,
Disgustingly insufferable.
yeah, they're pretty awful. Yeah,
Do you like we're seeing this huge like kind of global awakening to like guys realizing like, yo, these bitches suck, right? Do you think the pendulum will kind of swing the other way? I don't think it will. I think that we're just going to see the end of these nations because women motivate us to do everything. And once the women are sour, like the guys are like, fuck it, I'm just going to masturbate, smoke weed, and watch Twitch and, watch OnlyFans and just fucking not do anything with my life.
yeah. I mean, the U.S. is like pretty big on like just handing out crazy amounts of pharmaceuticals, so they might just like decide to like just drug the population and get everybody on opiates or whatever it is, right? Make everybody feel complacent and compliant, right?
It's fucking crazy. Better to Greater, $5 super chat. Thank you. Says invite Tusk and Troy Francis to Tokyo for an infield stream featuring MLD. Great content, guys. I don't think they would do as good as Mateo and Mac the Day Gamer because there's a lot of cultural hurdles you have to like kind of overcome to have success. Like what a lot of guys don't realize, like Japanese girls, like if you approach them, they'll be like, yeah. Like they'll act like they're interested and they'll go along with you and give you your phone number and then like completely disappear. Like you have to know how to read in between the lines because Japanese people are very anti-confrontational. Like they'll go along with things, they'll tolerate shit, and they'll like act like everything's okay, but in their mind they're like, I am fucking miserable. I am never gonna fucking talk to this guy again. I'm gonna block him. I hate this guy. But they'll never voice that to you. What would you say? You think that's an accurate assumption or?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, like I've seen like a lot of people come here and like dating coaches or whatever, people from the West, and try to game here. And
your buddy David Bond says he hates Japan.
He's like, I mean, like he is my homie. Like I hung out with him in Thailand and also Indonesia as well. And like, yeah, he's basically like not gonna come back to Japan.
I don't think he gets it.
Well, he was never really that much of a gamer, right?
That's what I'm saying. He doesn't he doesn't get it. I think he's more of a spam approach kind of RSD guy. He doesn't understand how women really work.
Yeah. He's mostly like just about like just like doing silly like kind of Tinder kind of cheap approaches and all that, right? Like he's not really like
clown game to an extent.
Yeah. Originally he was putting a GoPro on his head and approaching girls in the street, but like basically like he said that he couldn't keep doing that, right? Like basically like it changed, right? And this was from like, I don't know, like 6 years ago to like 3 years ago, right? Yeah. And he was like, damn, I already feel the change, right? Imagine what it's like from like the 80s to like, now 2021, right? So, I mean, I'm not trying to scare people off of coming here, right? But I think it's definitely like one of the most amazing places in the world game, right? You got an unparalleled amount of crazy, beautiful girls out here that pay like strict attention to everything, right? Like all of their fashion and all of the way they take care of themselves, like everything is,
man.
Yeah, it's crazy, like man. Scientists. It's crazy.
Like Mac the Day Gamer says it like the Japanese girls' attention to detail with their beauty is second to none. I mean, I'm talking fucking pubic hair, eyebrows, shaving their vaginas, getting laser for their entire body, their eyelashes, their hair, how they text you. Like these girls are fucking scientists, and like with the precision of their fashion, it's just like, when I go back to America, I'm like, you slovenly pigs. Like, I'm just like you are so gross, and it's just like the culture, like. Because fat women threw off the balance in America. Like, so just like not being fat is like, girls like, well, I'm not fucking a Walmart golem, so like worship me.
Yeah.
And they've thrown off the balance. But here it's just like they're all so beautiful and they're all so fucking abundant that there's like a lot of competition amongst women here.
Yeah. It is like it is almost like in some ways it's like an economic issue, right? It's almost like the West has become like fucking like Venezuela or something, right? Where like, you know, like the means of production are, you know, like the Walmart golems are running the country, right?
Yeah.
And there's no competition to properly keep the prices like where they should be, right? So you gotta have like a wheelbarrow full of sexual market value to like exchange for some like slovenly four or something, right? You're like, what is this funhouse mirror world of, you know, that we're living in, right?
It's so disgusting. Like I said that it's like I was like coming to Japan is like every day eating filet mignon, and then you got to go back to America and you got to eat like fucking, you know, chuck steak, and you have to pay like $500.
Yeah.
So no, like I said, once you're over here, it's just no, and I'm again, we've done the work, and we're gonna talk about that as well. Dude, you have an insane sex life. Like you live to fuck.
I don't think anybody really believes me when I tell them.
I didn't. I did not.
Right.
I guys, I saw his videos on YouTube and I was like, this guy's a scammer for sure. And then word traveled around you, and then I was like, then I saw you started following me on Instagram, and I was like, hey, we should meet up. And like the first thing I did was like, I'm sorry. Like I left a bad comment on your YouTube. I'm sorry. You're the fucking man.
Yeah. I mean, it's like that's the thing is like even people who are gaming, like even people who are in my community and my chats and everything, they're just like, man, like I like some of the stuff you're talking about, like it's like too far out of people's reality, right? Like like recently I've been thinking about it. I gotta be like I gotta post a video of me just getting rejected for like 1 hour just so, you know, people are like, wait, this actually happens, right? Because like the lifestyle is just insane, man. It's just hard to fully explain, and nobody will believe it, right? Like it's almost like if I'm like, you know, it's like in Game of Thrones or something. If you're like, look, dragons exist. I have you know, I got these dragon eggs, and like everybody's like, no, they don't. Like, shut up. Dragons have been dead for millennia, right? It's like, nope. I mean, like, really got these dragon eggs, right?
Let's talk about, you know, your crazy ass sex life.
Yeah, for sure.
How many girls are you seeing right now, like on rotation?
So I mean, like, I don't like to. So I've been through periods over the 10 years here in Japan. Like, I've been through periods of having like regulars, basically, where like I had basically like a rotation of like 7, probably at the max, like 7 girls who were like really quite, like I was meeting basically like once a week, once every 2 weeks, who were like I would consider like proper regulars, right? And that was just too much for me, right? Like I'm not about that life right now, right?
It drains you.
Yeah, it drains you, right? So right now, essentially where I'm at is like I got 2 kind of main girls. I got 2 girlfriends essentially, and they're like completely polar opposites. Like one is like a super petite, very feminine, very like caring, office lady girl, young, 23 basically, and like very feminine, very cute. When I bring her to parties, like, because I do these parties with, and we'll probably get into that a little bit later. I do these parties as well with basically ballers, Japanese dudes who have like money, right? And they just come and basically drop $300 for a party and meet a bunch of girls, right? Have a great time. But she's like the life, like they all like latch onto her because she's like their sort of ideal, like demure, small, petite, cute little girl. So anyway, that's like the one, right? And then my other girlfriend's like a porn star essentially, right? So she's like the opposite. She's like curvy, voluptuous, right? And like the way I sort of design my sex life right now is like I want tomorrow what I didn't have yesterday, right? So like yesterday, if I had like a super short, like tiny girl, like tomorrow I want like a judo athlete, or, you know, like some sort of tall, like elegant, you know, runway modelers. I don't actually like runway models, but like, you know, you get the point. Like something that's different from what I had yesterday, right?
How many girls do you think you fuck on a weekly basis?
On a weekly, I mean, recently I've been quite tired, right? Like I've been passing out like in bed with girls and just like not even making a move on them, right? So, but I mean, like in terms of like new girls, at least like 2 a week, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 1 to 2 a week, and then it depends, right? Like, cause I like the girls that I like keeping around. Like, I'll still hook up with them, but I've been doing like a lot of parties, a lot of clubbing as well. So that gets me quite tired. So like sometimes when I come home, like if I'm with girls like that, I'm essentially when I show up to a club or to these parties, I got to go with like basically 10 girls, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I spend almost all of my time kind of managing all of them. If I don't pay each of them enough attention, they get like uppity and like they'll like leave or they'll get drunk and pass out in the toilet or they'll like, go into somebody's VIP or something. So I got to like, it's quite like a lot of work, right? I don't think like most people, like if most people see like the window, like, oh, he's at a club with 10 girls and it's just him and one other guy in the VIP. They got bottles or everything. Like, it must be fun, right? It's quite stressful actually, right? Like managing like 5 to 10 girls by yourself is like, it's like a full-time job basically.
Yeah. I hear some of these guys telling me that like, they want to fuck like 10 new girls a month. And like, if it's catch and release, I could see that. But even that, the effort alone to get 10 girls a month is extremely exhausting.
Yeah. So, I mean, I used to do like basically lone wolf game, which is, basically where I would like, I have my apartment. I just go out and do street, day game, night game, whatever, and pull the girl home. Right. And just smash her and then send her off.
How would you do that? How would you talk the audience through the process?
Right. So I mean, just basically like see a girl in the street, go up to her, approach her, make a simple observation about something she's wearing, be like, oh, you got these flamingo kind of style pants. Like, talk about what you were doing that day. Be like, okay, yeah, I just finished eating a burrito, had some Mexican food. It's quite spicy. What about you? What are you up to? You look like you're going shopping, something like that, right? So. Kind of goes like that, essentially like a simple observation about them. Anything matters, doesn't have to be particularly thought out. Followed by explaining what you're up to, right? Mm-hmm. She needs some context about what you're doing. She shouldn't imagine like you're, just talking to every girl in the street or that you're a tourist that's lost or something, right?
Yeah.
And then just be like, yeah, and then, well, what are you up to, right? You want to find out what she's doing with her day. If she has a little bit of time, then just be like, yeah, cool. All right, let's get a drink. Let's get, let's chill for a bit. Let's talk a little bit more over this way, right? And then just bring the girl towards isolation. I don't really take girls to a bar. Sometimes I will, but for the most part, I just bring them straight home, right? And yeah, once they're home, let them chill out, let them relax a bit. Give them a drink or something, and when they chill out for about 10 15 minutes, then start to kind of feel up on them, escalate, have sex with them. Yeah, that's kind of the basic, like the super basic way it goes down, right? But
Right.
it's a lot. When I was doing this as a lone wolf, basically, when I was just pulling girls back to my home from the street home, just how I described, it was a lot more simple in a lot of ways than it is now. Because now I live with one other guy and another girl, and like there's almost always like some random girls in my house, right?
Yeah.
And
It's crazy. It's like I call it the whorehouse. I'm like, my friend's like, where you guys going? I'm like, heading to the whorehouse, because I just every time I come over, there's some like new young hot girl, like that one, the little tiny one that was there last time, that one you said was like a nympho. Just I never seen her before. Just another smoke show.
Bro, that girl's sexual as fuck, man.
Yeah, no, I mean, she was fine as fuck. And just like going to these, just seeing all this and like the lifestyle, because like you guys, like, so he lives with another guy, and like it's crazy to see this other side of female nature, like how the girls just openly have sex with both of you, and there's no judgment, there's no jealousy. Like, some of the other simp guys we talk about get jealous and try to, wife up hoes and shit. But like, just like the whole detachment, if you will, to trying to like hold on to something and control it and shit. And, like when you both brought that one American Japanese girl over, and you guys were both like, you guys fucked her like within an hour of each other. and how she was just like totally open around. She's like, I'm being passed around, but it's kind of fun. And I was
Yeah,
just like,
yeah.
and I was just like, watching it, and it just the atmosphere, like the judgment free, like it's just fucking, it's mind blowing, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of weird. It's like basically like if the girls realize that you sort of don't care, right? So it's like people talk a lot about frame, right?
Yeah.
About like what is your frame, like what beliefs do you have, right? It's like obviously like, the stronger you hold your beliefs, the stronger you have a frame, the more you influence the girl to essentially adopt your frame, right? So it's like with the two people, right? It's not like she's gonna like the way you win a frame. Like if you're like, we're going to my house, and she's like, no, we're not going to my house. We're not going to your house. That's like a frame battle, basically, right? But the way you win the frame battle is not like you're not gonna like out logic her, right? You just hold your own frame with more belief than she holds her frame, right?
Yeah.
Right. So like you're just like, no, this is normal. I'm from the US, we chill, we hang out in houses, right? So we're just gonna go inside for 10 minutes, right? And then like basically like what happens is she's just like, okay, right? Like there's no like logical destruction of the frame, right? It's not like you battle her frame. It's more like you just hold your own frame stronger than hers.
No
right?
boyfriend destroyer line, all that fucking POA nonsense.
Yeah, exactly. So the crazy thing about having a house or like an ecosystem, so this is like the kind of transition that I've made in the past year and a half, 2 years, right? I've moved from essentially having doing like lone wolf game, which is where, and it's important, you got to be able to provide for yourself, right?
Right.
Like you got to be able to feed yourself before you can feed anybody else, right? But I used to just pull for myself, and then like sometimes I would have parties and like my friends would come and whatever. But for the most part, I would just be like meeting girls on the street, going on dates, or pulling them the same day and hooking up with them, right? But the shift came when I realized that like essentially like what one person's, like if one person's frame is strong, 2 people's frame or 3 people's frame is like unstoppable, basically, right? Like at that point, it almost becomes like a weird, like it almost becomes like a religion or like a cult, right?
Is what I was thinking, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's like the girl comes off the street and she's like, I'm nervous. This is a foreigner that's talking to me. I don't know if I should go into his house, right? And then she steps in the house, and then like there's another guy who's like, no, it's fine. Just chill. Just sit. Like, you can be free. You can be open, whatever, right?
Yeah.
You can have sex if you want to. You don't have to if you don't need to, right? And then there's a girl there that's also like, yeah, no, just please sit down, have a drink, have fun. No, go check out the bedroom with him. He's a nice guy, like if there's a girl there with you too, like fuck, she's done, man.
You talk about Miyu?
The chicken, yeah. She's the real legend. She's the real legend, man.
She's an OG.
yeah, she's a legend, man. I mean, we got a bunch of girls who who are like, who kind of know what the deal is, right?
Yeah.
They know what the deal is, so like they're like, yeah, they're not gonna stop some new girl from exploring herself, right? A lot of girls will subtly, and actually this is actually pretty funny. Like I recently had this thought, like, do you know the prisoner's dilemma, where it's like 2 prisoners can either both confess or both decide they're innocent, and if they both confess, I don't know, there's like this game where it's like, if one confesses and one says they're innocent, then they get this amount of time each. Like if one person confesses, the other says they're innocent, then the person who confesses is the only person who's in jail, and the other one is free. Basically, it's a game theory. It's to explain game theory, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we had this idea about like this like the slut good girl prisoner's dilemma, right? So it's like if you get 2 girls in your house, right? They sort of looking at each other like, what are we gonna do, right? It's like they have 2 cards, right? It's like they can only play one, right?
Mm-hmm.
And once they play one, they can't take it back, right? So they have to play like either the slut card or they play like the good girl card, right? And they kind of look at each other. And it's like a little bit of a game of chicken, right? With the other girl, right? Because it's like, okay, wait, are we supposed to be good girls today, or are we going to be sluts, right? And if they both decide we're going to play the slut card, then they'll both get smashed, they'll both fuck and have a good time, and they'll go home and be like, okay, let's never tell anyone about this, right?
Right.
Right? But if they look at each other and then like one girl's like tries to shame the other girl, right? She's like, no, she has a boyfriend, right? And then she makes the other girl essentially play her good girl card, right? But then like the first girl can be kind of sneaky, right? She can be like, I got her to play the good girl card. I'll like sneakily go fuck this guy, you know, while my friend's not looking, right? So we had the same situation essentially, right? We had this situation play out about 3 nights ago where we had 2 girls back, right? And they're quite similar. They didn't know each other.
Where'd you get them from?
So like one was from the club and the other was from, I think it was from the street. Yeah.
Who pulled who?
So one was from the club who Donnie had met originally, and the other girl was from the street who our other homie brought through. Yeah. But basically, they had a similar kind of style, right? And so the one girl, she was like interested in Donnie, but she was like, he's got a boyfriend to the other girl, right? So she made the other girl, the smaller girl, essentially reject Donnie, right? So she played the good girl card, right? She's like, no, you have a girlfriend, right? And then the first girl, the taller girl, like went to the other room and like smashed him, right? So basically like she like psyched her friend out. Like she like made her declare her good girl card, you know, early enough that she could then like secretly fuck him, right?
Jesus.
So it's like a weird, basically it's like the slut's dilemma is essentially like, it's like a way we come to think about how like girls kind of like try to psych each other out with this, right? It's like, it's very much a psychological game, right? Where they decide like, are we gonna both do this together and then never tell anybody about it?
Yeah.
Or are we gonna both be good girls together, right? But if one does it and the other doesn't, then like, yeah, so girls like, you know, they're always trying to cock block each other basically, so yeah, but I thought that was like a pretty funny, like we just thought of applying this to the prisoner's dilemma essentially, right?
That's hilarious. You don't lie when you deal with these girls at all, right?
No.
'Cause I know a lot of dating coaches out there like just lie. I'm like, I think like it's a beginner move at the beginning, but I think like true pimp daddy, true player, ultra player can just tell them this is how it is, and you just gotta like it or love it.
Yeah.
And then if they don't, then you just go find another one. But when they do stay with you being ultra confident, that gives you so much more confidence because like you're like, this bitch knows and she's staying. You know what I mean? I think it's the next level of game. Like guys, a lot of like the sneaky guy game, the lying game. It just because lies, you know, a buddy of mine, King Dre, he said that in order to keep a lie going, you have to add more lies to it, and it's just like becomes like, you know, I guess if you're pussy starved, it's fine, but I'm not pussy starved. You're not pussy starved, and we're kind of like have this abundance mindset where we're just like, I don't fucking need to lie, bitch, and like, yeah, you can leave, you can go get yourself a silver medal, but like, you know, the champ is here, so
Yeah.
deal with it, get with the program or fuck off.
Yeah, so for me, I mean, like, I think I sort of separate words with like intentions essentially, right? So like no girl when she hangs out with me is ever going to get the impression that like I'm chaste and I'm going to, you know, sleep with only her for forever, right? But at the same time, like I think it is a bit vulgar to be like, yeah, I'm fucking other girls, right? Like
You don't want to rub it in their face.
yeah, it's not nice. It's just not nice to put it in their face.
Not
right?
at all. No.
Yeah. So like there's like that's the kind of difference is that you want them through your vibe, you want them to basically know that they know in their core that you're fucking other girls, right?
Yeah.
But for me I'm never going to be like, yeah, I am fucking other girls, right? Like it's just one of those things. It's sort of like gentlemen never tell, right?
What do you do if they ask?
If they ask, like, well, it depends, I guess, what situation, what point in the relationship it is, right? If it's quite early, be like, well, I'm still trying to decide about you. Like, I like you, I want to hang out with you more, right? But you know, I'm still trying to decide about you, so we'll figure it out, right?
Give them a little hope.
Yeah. I mean, basically, you have to keep that window of hope there, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, you have to stay true to yourself and like what you're gonna do. Like, no girl's ever gonna like control you and make you, you know, give it all up for her, right?
Yeah, no. And the moment you do is the moment she starts to leave because
Exactly.
she's conquered you, and she's just like, I've conquered this guy and I'm bored. And she, when you incongruently, like when you change yourself for a woman and you don't want to, you start to like subconsciously communicate like defeatedness to her. And that's really like just unattractive. Sure. And then she ends up leaving you regardless. You know what I mean? So you just got to fucking own it. And again, like, I think there's so much bad information in this internet space. So much. The biggest problem is people think that large subscriber count, large view count automatically means this guy is 1,000% correct. On the other hand, low subscriber count, low view count, low likes, whatever, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. But if you just like, if you're a red pill guy or like, whatever, guy who thinks for yourself, you should already question yourself to an extent if you're on the side of the masses. You'd be like, wait a minute, if all the fucking masses are simps and this guy gets a fuckload of views and fuckload of fucking subscribers, maybe something's off here. And I'm not saying that, but I'm trying to think, do you know any big channels like guys like who are having sex lives like us that have like massive followings?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say because like I don't actually like, most of the time, like I tend to believe people for like whatever they're putting out there, right? Like
I just say Dan Bilzerian. That's it.
Right.
Be the only one I think of.
I mean, I'm pretty sure he's paying for girls to hang out with. I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know, man. Like, who knows, right? But like, I tend to believe people. Like, I tend to take people at face value, just because I think it's like kind of the nice, polite thing to do, right? But a lot of these big channel guys, right? Like, I don't know. I mean, I think they're just there is a lot of mental masturbation in like the whole space, right? And like I think I don't know. I mean, I don't really know. And honestly, like I'm too busy to even try to investigate if they are, legit or not, right? Like I honestly just don't care, man. Like if they want to, put out videos on YouTube and give people advice, I honestly don't care to fact check them, right? Like if I meet them in person, I'm like, oh, I guess your life is like this. Like then I'll be like, all right, I guess it's like that, right? But I'm not gonna like go hunt people down and be like, no, you're, right? Like you're full of shit or something, right? Like I'm too busy living my own life. Like I don't give a fuck, dude.
You don't want to make roast videos from the beaches of Brazil?
No, dude. I don't. Yeah. I don't give a fuck, man. And it's like it's so petty, man. Like if you're sitting there like hating on somebody else's life, you're trying like it's just petty, man. It's just petty, man. Like I'm not trying to do any of that, right? Like I'm just literally like. Yeah, like I'm just too busy fucking getting laid and living my life and having a beautiful lifestyle, man. Like I'm not trying to like go like hunt somebody else down. Like I hope, if they're projecting this image of themselves on the internet, I hope they're happy with that. That's all I care about, right? Yeah. And to me, like the authenticity is like so important, right? So like I would rather, and like this is like super important to me. Like when I meet a girl in the street, right? I would prefer her to underestimate me. Like, I like that underdog role. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I want her to look at me and be like, oh, it's another foreigner. I'm not going to talk, like, fuck this guy. He's probably just an English teacher. Whatever, right? I don't, like, I want her to underestimate me because I know I can prove her wrong, right? I know I can prove her wrong. I would much prefer that than, like, flashing everything up front and being like, like, I got all this shit, like, that's why you should like me, right?
Mike.
I got all this shit, that's why you should like me, right? Like, so, I mean, like, basically, like, the point is like, if you base your confidence on signifiers, on objects or on things that should mean that you're successful, then you're already fucked, like, basically, right? Like, you have to be able to approach a girl, like, cold, naked, and alone, right? And scared, right? Like you have to be able to approach a girl like you're basically like just like you were just born, right? And you're like, what the fuck is going on with this world, right? Like you don't know anything, right? Because if you can't go up to a girl and you be like, look, I'm here naked and alone, shed of all of my beliefs, of all of my, whatever signifiers, whatever makes me comfortable, whatever makes me feel safe, right?
Yeah.
If you can't go up to a girl and be like, look, this is who I am, right? then like she's never gonna like you anyway. Like even if like maybe you somehow quickly slip in and fuck her or something, she's gonna pretty quickly be like, damn, like, I mean, like, I guess I fucked him, but like, that's probably a mistake, right? Like, so
Inner
I mean,
game.
yeah.
Game. Like a lot of people think that, you know, like I obviously wear brand names and stuff like that, but I wear it because I just genuinely like the stuff. It's not like I need to put on my brand name stuff and like go talk to girls. Like I've picked up girls wearing like Uniqlo, which is like Uniqlo is like the Walmart clothing of Japan, and picking up like Uniqlo shit, or like my favorite shirt that I have now is like a $16 piece of shit from fucking Korea, but I love it, you know. But yeah, it's all about like you have to internally believe that you're the fucking man, and like imperfections at all, because like neither of us are like super Adonis men. Like we're not like super good looking guys. We're not like fucking, you know, super jacked or super rich or anything like that. We're just like men who are just comfortable in our own skin, you know. And I think that's not say like, you know, you work out and you take care of yourself. I'm not saying that either, but like, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I like fashion. I like, you know, like wearing silly shit like this fucking. This is actually a girl's hat, right? Like it's from a chick brand. I mean, they do have men's clothing as well, but like I like you know, wearing silly, crazy shit, right, as well, right? Yeah, but basically, like, yeah, like it all comes down to that. Like, if you want like brand goods, or if you want a Lambo, or if you want to like get ripped and have abs, like do it for you. Don't do it for some fucking girl, right?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because like I guarantee you, like, bro, like I've been trying to find. Speaking of which, if you know anybody in Tokyo with a fat suit, please let me know, because I've been trying to, like, man. Like I want to just stunt on people with like as a fucking slob, man. Like, because like I feel like people cling on to this, like they cling on to these signifiers, right? They're like, I am this because of, you know, because of these things I have, or because of this career I have, or because of
these external things make me.
The external things make me valuable, right?
Yes.
And you basically have to just be able to just like go up to a girl, be like, yo, what up? I'm a piece of shit. Like, let's drink water in the park, you know, right? Like, and if you can do that, she's probably gonna be like, you know what? Like, this guy's probably worth hanging out with, right? Like,
yeah.
Right.
I think the great equalizer that's gonna come now is, and because I think that's what's missing from right now, is men just being masculine in themselves. You know what I mean? Just like being a man. That's the great equalizer, because, dude, like, the average dude is just a massive pussy. Massive fucking pussy. You know, a lay down, a fucking doesn't try hard, like, agrees to everything a girl says, you know. Like, I went on a date a couple months ago. It's hot, like, 23-year-old. And she was like, hey, I know I said I'd meet you at 6, but I'm running a little late. Can I meet at 6:30? And I was just like, no. And then she met me on the date. She's like, you're the first guy that's ever told me that. Because I literally was just like, I just don't want to fucking just be chasing after you and set this frame from the beginning of like, I'm like complying and like following after you. And I was just like, no, bitch. Like, I told you at 12 o'clock, we're going to meet at 6. You have 6-hour head start. So if you can't show up, I was just like, well, it's fine. You know, that same night, fucked her. She wanted me to like slap the shit out of her too and choke her. It was a good time. Spit in her mouth. It was all hot. But it all started with me just being like, you know, congruent with my belief system. Now, I'm not saying like you out there have to be like, no, bitch, if you don't show up at 6 on the dot, I'm alpha male, blah, blah, blah. I was just like, in my heart of hearts, I was just like, no, I just don't want to deal with it. Like, there's, you know, sometimes if I'll call a chick and she doesn't answer, I just won't call back. I'll be like, you saw I called, bitch. It's 2021. You're addicted to your phone just like I am. You know, and when you hold out on that and you just kind of like, you know, stay congruent with your internal belief system is the biggest thing. But a lot of guys don't have internal belief systems. When they meet a girl, their belief system is like submitting to the girl, like whatever she wants. Right. And I mean, women will make women across the world know how to make a slave out of a man. Like here in Japan, you know, for beta dudes, Japanese girls take the guy's entire salary and give a guy an allowance of his own fucking salary. They have a plan for every beta. It's like just built into them.
Yeah.
And then they go get fucked by guys like us.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it is intense, man. Like, and I think like confidence, like, I feel like it does stack. It's almost like a pyramid, right? Like on the ultimate base level, it's like you're a man, like you literally are you're a man, right? You can produce semen, right? And all of your father, your father's father, all the way back to fucking monkeys have successfully reproduced, right?
Yeah.
And therefore you're like living proof of successful reproduction, right?
Yeah.
So like it would be like surprising if you were not able to, right? So like that's like the fundamental layer of confidence, right?
Right.
It's like you're a man, number one.
Right.
Right? You are a living proof of successful reproduction through millennia.
Right.
Right? And like basically like all men are born and know to do is to reproduce with women, right? So
Right.
so like already just being born a man, you're already good enough, right?
Right.
You already have that fundamental like, look, you were born in this way, you are worthy and able, and you have a history and a impetus, like a momentum to reproduce, right? So there's no worry, right? There should never be any worry for any guy to be like, I don't know if I deserve a woman or something, right? Like, cause like, you were like, you've come through this history of like you're standing on the shoulders of everybody before you, right?
Right.
So like that's like the first level of confidence, right? And like anybody can have that, right? Anybody can literally wake up in the morning and be like, look, I'm literally born a man. That's good enough, right? I'm literally already by default good enough for pretty much any girl that's walking out there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then like on top of that, you build like the things that you've done, right?
Yes.
In your lifestyle, right? In your life, right? So you'd be like, okay, maybe you're, you have achievements in your work or your career or your hobbies or whatever, right?
Body. If you're
Sure.
doing the body thing for
Yeah.
you.
So any sort of anything that you have committed to and put dedication and time and effort in and achieve some success in, boom, there's like that second layer of confidence, right? And then on top of that, like, I mean, there's like all the superficial shit that people like to focus on the most, right? Like, okay, money or actual, clout or whatever, right? And that does exist, but I feel like people forget about those first two layers, right?
Yeah.
And they overly focus on look, hey, I got like the watch, so now is she gonna fuck me, right? Or hey, I got the table at the bottle, right?
Lead with the wallet. Lead with the external.
Yeah.
What I always tell guys, make money, make muscles, learn game as a lifetime motto, because you're always going to need money as a man. So you should be always like, you can never not there's nobody watching and there's nobody on this panel right now who would be like, yeah, I just couldn't use another extra 10 grand in my bank account right now. Like everybody could. So I always say make money. I say make muscles because physical fitness is important and muscles are physically attractive to women, right? It brings out a visceral side of them. And then learn game because guys are just getting fleeced. And so, but at the core of it all, you have to be like okay with yourself as a man internally and understand the principles of game, understand female nature. Then when you have the money and the muscles and the clout on top of it, now you're like God mode, like unstoppable.
Yeah. I mean, I think the money and the muscles, I think you should just do it for yourself. I don't even think it really relates that much to girls. The only way it relates to chicks is that, you feel better about yourself, right?
Yeah.
And that comes through, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's some, obviously girls like money or something, but I think, that's, those are the biggest kind of impact is, the way it makes you feel about yourself, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And like I said, the money and the muscles, if you lead with that, if you lead with money and muscles and clout and all that stuff, there's still the bitch made dude behind all of that she will discover.
She will discover, yeah.
And she will hate you for appearing to be like you're the fucking man, because then she's going to feel tricked. That's why you see these bitches doing Me Too. That's why I see these bitches dragging dudes through divorce courts, fucking their brothers, fucking their fucking dads, getting pregnant by the neighbor, whatever. So a lot of guys are just uncomfortable with being expressing to the world who they are. Because like until I was like, I'm 35 now. Until I was like 29, like I really was just like, I'm a bad person because I can't be monogamous. Because I cheat on every girlfriend. I've never been faithful in my life. And I thought I was a bad person. And I just, at 29, I was just like, you know what? Fuck it. Fuck everybody. Like, fuck it. Yeah, I'm a bad person. Yeah, I'm just going to cheat. I'm going to fuck these hoes to the day I die because I love it. I love every time I put my dick inside a new girl, I'm like, this is why I'm alive. This is the fucking best feeling ever. You know what I'm talking about, right? It's the best feeling ever. I'm just like, love sex. I love bitches. I love fucking hoes. I love women that serve me. I love women that fucking massage me, that fucking wash my little dumb dog, that like, you know, like take care of me. Like I love women that have sex with me and serve me. And I don't give a fuck anymore. And when girls meet me, you know, dude, like the most ardent feminist, fucking telling me like, I'll never submit to you. I'll never do this. I'll never do that. Next thing you know, they're fucking shining my shoes and looking up recipes. And because another thing that guys don't seem to realize is this: women want to serve men. And I think that's why American women are so fucking miserable. I mean,
that's true. I mean,
like we were hanging out with Miu, she was like happy as fuck to make kimchi soup for all of us. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning and she's in there cooking away with a fucking ear to ear smile on her face. And a lot of Japanese girls like are okay with embracing their femininity, like nurturing their man, taking care of their man. And the number one type of woman who fucking strays away from this is that like Anglo white woman. And they're so dumb because they just bought into the propaganda of like, no, like get a corporate job, like basically like be a fucking tax slave and like be a slave to a corporation, like don't have a family, don't be happy, don't serve a man. And then these girls are, like you said, pumping themselves full of pills, alcoholism, suicide amongst women's raising in the West. Like, dude, the average Japanese girl is like pretty happy girl. Like when you talk to them, like she has a cheerful demeanor about her. And other girls too, like Russian chicks over in Russia, Laotian girls, even fucking Korean bitches. Like I don't really like Korean girls that much, but like even them are like nicer. Chinese girls too. Like the girls in South America. Like when I went to Colombia, I was fucking this one chick. I was like, so can you cook? And she's like, of course I can cook. I'm a woman. She was just like so blown away at the question. And in America, they take pride. They're like, I don't want to cook. They take pride in being like a fucking useless woman. And then they're wondering why they're getting pumped and dumped until they're like 45 and like can't keep a guy. So
yeah, that's real. I mean, it is real.
So I just some Dan Pena's in the chat says fuck society. Let's see. But yeah, it's just true. Like what's happening is that over here, like men are men and women are women, and that's why I just think like fundamentally that's why a lot of people are suffering in America and shit. It's like it's fucking clown world, like you said. It's ultra clown world. But being okay with yourself as a man, I know, like I think be yourself is such loaded advice. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I have mixed feelings about that because, like,
too.
Yeah,
there needs to be some baseline things set, and then be yourself.
Yeah. I mean, most default, like, you never got anything good by being like default you, right?
Yeah, you have to change.
Yeah, you do have to change, right? So I'm always like I always like think of it as like accept and improve, right? So like if you have things that you can't change, right? Like whether you're like maybe you're short or bald or whatever, like there's things that you might be self-confident or lacking self-confidence about. Accept those things, right? And everything else, improve it, right? But always like you always have to have that like mixture of self-love about where you're at, with the combined like vision and drive to push yourself further, right?
Where did you? Because you're pretty like, I hate to say this, like pretty woke or whatever. Like not like you just have a very enlightened view of life that I think it brings a certain calmness to you, just to like be okay with yourself. Because I see like a lot of these guys, they're like, you know, they're like chihuahuas. They're like fucking like ferociously barking. Like, I'm the man, I'm the shit, I'm alpha. But like you really, when you're a guy like us, you just you clearly see like, oh, this guy like is fucking pussy.
Yeah.
So like, where did you learn this self-development, this kind of Zen-like thing, if you will?
I mean, I think it's just like stupid amounts of rejection, right, from women on the street, right? Like, I don't know. It's like if you're sharpening a blade and there's like all these imperfections and like you just keep sharpening it. Eventually, it's gonna fucking cut anything, basically, right? So, yeah, I mean, like you can gain confidence from a lot of things, but yeah, but I think for me, a lot of it was just like taking those rejections and being like, does this actually affect me negatively, right? Like, if she said some shit about me, if she's like, fuck you, like, I hate your nose or something, right? I was like, does that actually mean anything for me, right? And women are really good at like giving you a lot of bullshit, right? And like they'll find your button and they'll push it, right? Like they're really good at this. They're really good at finding like whatever you hate the most, right? And like whatever you don't want to hear, and then they're gonna like find that little annoying button and just push it, right? And they're gonna be like, how does he respond, right? Is he okay with hearing this, right? This thing that I've discovered that he hates the most, right? So I think like, I don't know, in a weird way, just like having that button pushed so many times, like there's just nothing can really like shake me now, right? Like I don't think there's anything a girl could say to me that would really like affect me that much, right?
You'd have to value women's opinion in that first regard, which I don't.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely like I value people, what they have to say and what they like.
I'll
think
entertain
about.
it. I'll listen to it, but I won't give like you're gonna. If you have an opinion, it's one thing, but for your opinion to have weight in my life, now I'm gonna judge your life.
Right.
You know, if you're like a drunken, like, sometimes girls would like mouth off to me on Seeking Arrangement. They'd be like, "You're just a fucking loser paying for pussy." I'm like,
what is she doing on Seeking Arrangement?
You're selling your pussy, bitch. Like you're like trying to like call me a loser. Like you're prostituting yourself. So then I don't take that to heart. I'm just like, this is a prostitute who hates her life and she's just angry at me. And I think a lot of guys take like online dating rejection pretty personally as well. But they're like, yeah, you can have a bad profile.
I mean, that's the fakest thing. I mean, a rejection on online, it doesn't mean anything. She doesn't know you at all.
Man. I know, but you'd be surprised how many guys take this seriously.
Well, people take it all serious. Like, they take it all a bit too seriously, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's, like, basically, like, so I've had this as well, basically, right? Where I've had a girl who, she would, like, get to know me long enough and we'd have a good enough relationship to the point where she knew exactly how to hurt me, and then she did it, right?
That's all women.
Yeah. I mean, it basically is all women, right? So, but then this happened, and then when I was meeting the next girls after that, right, and I'm trying to get over this previous girl, I realized that, like, I had built a shell around myself, right? So I think there's this trap, essentially, where when you get hurt by a woman, you want to close off, and you want to be like, nobody's ever going to hurt me, and that means I'm not going to respect anybody's opinion. I'm not going to listen to anything. Nothing anybody else says means anything, right? But, like, that's also, like, not really, like, that's not, like, really, you're not really being honest with, like, the world, right? Because, like, and it's hard because you basically, like, if you clam up, right, like a hedgehog or something, right? And you're like, nobody's going to affect me ever. Then you just become, like, this, like this steel warrior kind of, like, suit of armor character, right? You're not like really a human being, right?
Yeah.
So like in the way you essentially just have to like, you have to find the way to open back up and be vulnerable with future women in the way that the past woman who hurt you is not, you're not carrying that pain in the future. It's sort of like the parable, where it's like there's two monks, right? And they're walking, right? And they're obviously celibate and everything. And there's this woman who's like, having trouble, and there's like a river and she can't cross it, right? Mm-hmm. So like the one monk is like, all right, I'll carry you across, right? And he carries her across the river and he puts her down, right? And then the two monks continue their journey, right? And like 5 miles down the road, the second monk is like, I just have to ask you about this because we're monks, right? We're not supposed to touch women, right? But you carried that girl across the river, right? And then the first monk's like, yeah, but you're still carrying her. You know what I mean? So it's like the things that happen in your past, like, yeah, okay, like it's fine to like harden yourself up or to like build self-confidence, but like you can't like let the pain from the past like taint your interactions with women in the future, right?
Yeah, and that.
And I think
happens.
like this is one thing, like this is one reason where like I'm just a gamer. I'm just attracted to women. I just go out and fuck girls, right? Like I have no interest in like the like super extreme red pill, like men going their own way, like let's just close ourselves off and hate women, right? I have no interest in that side of this community, essentially, right?
Neither do I.
Yeah. So like I'm just like I legit like I just want to meet girls, bring them home, have sex with them, have a good time with them, right? So
a lot of these dudes who are extreme, like, you know, like women are the fucking boogeyman, like women are the enemy, and like this, it's like no matter what, a woman is waiting in the fucking dark to fuck you over. And I think that a lot of these guys are seriously hurt. Like like,
they are hurt.
They
right?
really are hurt
They
in
are
the
hurt,
head. And like I fucking love women, bro. Like I love the way they smell. I love the way they taste. I love the way they take care of me. I love when they kiss me on the cheek. Like I fucking love being appreciated women. I don't give a fuck. I love it. And I think that's part of like becoming really, really not only popular with girls, but like successful with girls is like you got to love the process. And a lot of these guys, like they legit hate women.
Yeah.
Like, and it's a cope. Like a lot of these MGTOW guys, a lot of the black pill guys, which I don't consider them part of the red pill community. They're their own fucking Special Olympics version of masculinity. But what you're saying is so true. Like one guy, his wife will cheat on him, and then he'd be like, every bitch is a cheater. And then he'll look for cheaters, and he'll get involved with cheaters, and then she'll cheat on him, and he'll be like, see, I told you. All women are cheaters, and it's just this self-perpetuating cycle.
Or you get or even worse, you get like the Elliot Rodgers kind of like just kill people, like just snap and be like, why are you not spreading your legs for my BMW and like my good looks, like my good genetic looks, like let me just murder every, like it's like, yeah. So I feel like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of confused people out there. There's a lot of people who have been hurt, and I can empathize with that, but there's a lot of people who have like carry that hurt and like make it hateful and project it onto everybody. And I'm not really about that. Like, yeah, I'm like, I don't really think like, you know, when you meet random girls, like, yeah, like they don't really have that much, like, you know, they're often gonna like kind of jerk you around or whatever, like try to take as much advantage and time and, you know, maybe free money or dinners as they can, right? I think that's like normal, just opportunistic behavior, right? Yeah, and as long as you kind of see it for what it is, I don't think that's a reason to kind of hate them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you got to kind of separate it. You got to be like slightly cynical and like, you know, it's like if you have a daughter, right, and she's like always like, I want to eat ice cream, right, and you're like, it's time for dinner, right, and she's like, no, ice cream, and you're like, nope, dinner, right, you know, it's like you still love the daughter even though she's still trying to just eat ice cream all the time, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, it's the same kind of thing with girls. Is like you can't like if they try to like get you to take them to some expensive dinner, they try to like sort of like direct, you know, what you're gonna do, like. Rather than getting mad at them, it's good to just be like, I sort of like, I knew you were going to try to do this, but we're not doing this, right? Like, that's like, I think to me that like, that's like the healthy way of dealing with it, right?
Yeah, I think Rollo calls that amused mastery. Mm-hmm. It's like when you see what they're up to. Like, I can see when they're like plotting to like do something nice for me, to manipulate me in a good way. And when I can see when they're trying to like do something bad to me and manipulate me in a negative way. But like, you know, just non-responsiveness is always the best way. Like I would say positively reinforce the good behavior to like counter manipulate them into like just doing what you want.
Right. Yeah. That's the ideal, right?
And then with bad behavior, lashing out to them or whatever is just never a good idea. Just like ice them, you know, when they want to be bad, just, you're on ice, bitch.
Yeah, and I feel like at the main fundamental issue of most guys is not that they're like too like hateful of women. I don't think that's really the issue. I think if anything, I mean, most guys just need to, exactly. Like this, like they need to enforce their own boundaries, right?
Yes.
But for me, it's like enforcing boundaries means like, it doesn't mean like attacking the other person. It just means like if they don't comply to what you want them to be, you just withdraw your own presence, right? So it's like if a girl's like not doing, you know, not acting in a way that you want, just be like, yo, this is not okay, right? And then just withdraw your presence. You don't need to like berate her. You don't need to get in like a logical argument with her. You don't need to try to flex on her or be like, how can you not see that, whatever, right? Just withdraw your own time and presence, right? Be like, and you don't even need to tell her about it, right? Like that's that's the ultimate flex, right? Just be like, okay, like literally, like if a girl says anything, the ultimate kind of shit test destroyer is just okay. 2 letters, okay, right? And then you just do whatever else, you get on with your own life, right?
And then they'll have to, because typically when they do these shit test things, it's a cry for attention, and B, it's also to test you as a man to see how you're gonna react, right? But like for example, when the girl's like, I don't think this is working out, and I need some time for me, and blah blah blah. And most guys be like, oh baby, 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 but you're just like, okay, or just leave them on red. That's the best. It's even better. Leave them on red. Don't give them any closure. Leave them on red. Just let them see that you had let them see that you got the message, and be like, well, and then they always come back, and then you're just like, well, you told me you fucking wanted to go, so why are you here?
Yeah,
because they do come back.
Yeah,
but just letting them kind of like withdrawing yourself and letting them miss you, and letting them kind of appreciate your value as well, because they're gonna go out there, and like when a girl dates a guy like you or I, going back to the average guy is just like fucking hell.
Sure, yeah.
And that's why they'll even share guys like us.
Yeah.
Reluctantly, but they will.
They know they have to, basically. And then there's also kind of like the really interesting flip side, which like we're out here in Tokyo and Shinjuku, we got these like, you got hosts and everything, right?
Yeah.
And the way they deal with people is like extreme pressure, manipulation, guilt, all this kind of stuff, right? So there is this flip side. And I don't know, like I don't know if we can get into it too much right now. It might be a bit much for this, but like there's like being aloof and just cutting off, like removing yourself from the interaction. And that's like always like a pretty good strategy. But there's also like a way in which you can kind of like leverage the emotions of the moment, right? And it always depends on how much compliance you have with the girl, right? So the first day you meet the girl, you can't really like get so too emotional with her and like, leverage your relationship with her too hard. But by the second date, or the second day you meet her, or if it's your girlfriend or something like that, you can kind of put a lot of pressure on her, right? And you can get her to do things with like emotionally exerting pressure and influence on her.
I think that's a short-term strategy, though. I don't.
It is, but
you think it's good for a long term?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is. Like basically, like so what I kind of learned when I was dating, like I came from the U.S., right? So obviously when I first came, I was like, let me just be very open, very laissez-faire. Let me tell girls, look, I'm a free person. I'm going to sleep with other people and, okay, do it if you want or whatever, right? But then, like, the longer I lived here and the longer I, like, got to know women in general, like, the more I realized that that wasn't really what they wanted, right? Like, they essentially wanted more, like, they wanted me to be like, who are you texting right now? Let me see. Show me your messages. Like, open it up, right? Or be like, what's your background? Change it to a background of me, right? Like the longer the relationship lasts, the more kind of pressure they want to feel because it means that you care about them, right?
Yeah.
So like the more I was aloof and distant and like I don't care what, take it or leave it, I'm just going to do my own thing. Like they felt like I didn't care about them, right? Yeah. So this is the kind of like the balance here, right? Is that you do like there is a degree to which the longer you know a girl, the more like they want you to like, it's almost like jealousy can be powerful, right?
Yeah, there's a way to do it. I definitely would agree. There's like a way, because sometimes they'll do things that they know, which is like pushing your button. But I think it depends on the guy. But for me personally, like I don't know. I'm just like I'll just ask them like, so this is what you're gonna do, and they already know right there. You know what I mean? If they're gonna like post like something racy on Instagram, or you just look at it and be like, oh. And girls, they'll interpret that like, you know, in like a microsecond. You just like it's what you're really saying with your emotions when you say it. You know what I mean? And I think that I just hesitate to tell a guys who watch us to actively use jealousy, because I think it's a skill. You have to do it skillfully.
Yeah, that's the hard thing, right? It's like if you feel like you are jealous, it's probably like not the right time to be jealous, right? Yeah. Like you like that's probably the time to just be aloof. Aloof. Yeah, aloof. Like step one, like look, like, you know, yeah, like if you're you know, like plowing the fields, right? Like you gotta just be aloof, right? Like don't, like, you know, but there are levels to this, obviously, right? And there's like it is like, it reminds me of like basically like Mace Windu from Star Wars, right? Like he was in, I forget which number form of Jedi
8.
He used.
Vapad.
Yeah, so like
Vapad.
right. So he's like he's like a Jedi, but he's the one that like descends into his emotions like a Sith to like use it for good, right?
Yes.
So he was like the most dangerous like dueler.
Yes.
So like the Siths were like the most scared of Mace Windu because he was able to like leverage his own emotions for good, essentially, right? So he had like the compatible, powerful, you know, fighting style that was the most dangerous to essentially like the dark side, right? Yeah. Whereas all the other Jedi guys were, that's the Jedi dude who got thrown out of the window, but he had defeated, he had won essentially that battle.
He did win the battle.
He did win that battle, and he did get thrown out, but only because, you know, Anakin was, I don't know, like flip flopping and
cut his arm off, and Palpatine shocked him. But
so Vapad, that's the one. I mean, that's like, so to me, that's what it is, right? It's like, look, like if you're starting out game, just be fucking Obi-Wan Kenobi and just like, you know, just like be aloof, be like nothing affects me. I will, I will absorb all the hate of the world and transform it and like, you know, continue on my path and find, you know, whatever else it might be. But like if you're looking to like explore, you know, the emotional and like darker territory of the world, then like there is a lot of room to like kind of leverage your emotions, including jealousy, including anger, in a controlled way for the good of the relationship, essentially.
And that's more higher level stuff. That's more like that's like dark side seduction game. Which we are going to be talking about that a little bit later this week. You're guys going to see something. We're working on something with that. But I think that it's just, there's so many levels to this game. And I think that you and I, we're just at such a higher level than the average guy for sure. Yeah. That a lot of these concepts may go over their head. But I think it's good for you guys to listen in on these high level conversations. Like this is a guy who's just running through women. Like, why don't you just explain your day to day real quick for the guys? Just tell them like a day in the life.
Yeah, I mean, I spent a lot of time approaching the street.
But like, let's go from waking up until going to bed.
Yeah,
like Monday to Thursday, not your club days.
Yeah. I mean, my days are pretty chill. Like during the day, I'll just wake up. Sometimes there'll be a chick there, sometimes not. Just like, you know, get food, make food, work out. You do work on the computer. Usually, maybe like 4 p.m. or something, I'll go out and do some street, talk to girls in the street, pull them back. On club days, I'll go invite a bunch. Spend a lot of time texting, which I also don't like. But I usually show up to the club, doing a club promoter thing here. So show up to the club with about like 10 or 15 girls, right? And then bring the ones that I want back, right, to my place at night. Hook up with one or more, often two, sometimes three that night, right? And then kind of repeat, man. Like it's intense. It's a bit tiring, really, to be honest. But yeah, there's a bunch of girls who like just essentially like will be like, hey, can I come over today? Like all the time, and I do live with, you know, I mean, you've met him as well, but like one other guy, and we essentially, we do kind of share a lot of girls, right? And I think there's one thing that a lot of guys are not really aware of is the degree to which if a girl, and part of it is pride, I think, but part of it is also just like they never thought about it, but yeah, the degree to which, like, if a girl like smashes one, then they smash the other. So there's this thing called jar theory, right? It's like, you ever had like a girl be like, "Hey, can you open this jar for me?" or something, right? Like a jar of pickles or jalapenos or whatever it might be, right? And like, you know, maybe like one person struggles to open it and passes it to the next person, and like the dude just like pops it open, right? Maybe the first person will be like, "Ah, yeah, but I like helped loosen it a little bit," right? You know?
Yeah.
But once it's open, right? So we kind of use this like a bit, right? Like, so sometimes a girl might not be initially down for one guy, and then like the other guy might take her and pull her into privacy, and like, and yeah, like it's sort of like, we do think about this as well. Like, the girls do have a fun meter, right? And the fun meter kind of needs to be filled before like they're ready to put out a lot of the times, right? That's why you can meet a girl in the club and like have sex with her within 5 minutes, right? But sometimes, like, if it's earlier in the night, they might need to have like, you know, they might need that fun meter built up. But yeah, like the jar theory essentially says that, like, yeah, like if a girl smashes one guy, she's probably gonna be down for like a second, maybe even a third or fourth. Like, I think the record was, we had one girl. I can show you. I'll show you like after the stream. I can show you this picture. But this girl is like fire as fuck, man. Like, stunning girl. And she, like, I think that night we were having a barbecue, she smashed 7 dudes, right?
Jesus.
Yeah, 7 guys. And like, she was just like, it was pretty silly because like we were like, obviously we all like sort of, we're all like gamers or whatever. We're all like out there approaching on the street, and we kind of know how to like kind of like pass, like sort of like the next guy would be like, "Okay, yeah, go in there now," right? Like, as the first guy's leaving, right? But that was like intense. Like, that was like I didn't even think that. Like, I was like, okay, surely a girl will sleep with 1 or 2 guys, maybe 3, but then like, no, this girl is just like voracious essentially. And I'll show you this picture. It's like fucking stunning girl, man. Like, she, like, you see her walking down the street, every dude is gonna want to be with her. Like, it's insane, right? So yeah, and like, it's easy to be like, you know, my girl wouldn't do that, or like, that girl is not gonna do that. You're only gonna end up with the sluts, you know, or whatever. But yeah, like, it's tricky. Like, when a girl, that's like what the whole ecosystem is about. It's like creating a well, like a gravity well, right? Like, your frame, if your frame is strong enough, and you're like, look, this is normal, right? Right? So it's like, there's the first level. It's like, okay, this is normal to have sex with me on the first day we meet, right? Within 45 minutes of meeting you, right? And if you're able to like use your frame to convince her of that, and she believes that, then that's one thing, right? But if you have like her, like you, another dude, 3 other dudes, another girl, 3 other girls, right? You have a whole party full of people who, like, the girl comes up and she might like have a little conversation with another girl. She'd be like, "Hey, like, is it okay? Like, what's happening with this party?" And then the other girl is like, "No, it's fine. Just have fun," right? Like, if you create this conspiracy of multiple people with their frames all aligned in the same way, it's almost like stepping into a different world. Like, it's like she stepped into Disneyland or something, right? It's like, you know, like that's why in Disneyland they have like the walls, right? They have like the walls so that you can't see the outside world, right?
Yeah,
if you go into Disneyland, right?
Yeah.
It's like to preserve the illusion, essentially,
The music
right?
playing, everything.
Yeah. So it's like all created to like pull you into that reality, right?
Yep.
So that's the same thing. It's like, if you have a bunch of people who all believe the same thing, right? So I kind of want, and it gets silly. Like, it gets so silly. Like, it's like, you would never like even imagine it was possible, like the kind of things that these people would do. It's like, I kind of want to do this to like with weird things. Like, I want to like I wonder, like, if you had some party of like 20 people who all were trying to convince like the newcomer that like red was actually blue, right?
Yeah.
Like if she came in, you're like, no, this is blue, and she's like, wait, what? Isn't it red? And be like, no, listen, that's blue, right? Like if everybody spent their whole night like just being like, this is actually blue. Like I'm pretty sure the girl like by the end of the night she'd be like, fuck, it is blue, right? Like you know what I mean?
They've already done a study like that. I've seen it. There's this one girl. She goes into a waiting room, and there's like 15 people there, and like every time this like chime goes off, everybody stands up, and then everybody sits down.
Yeah. I think I saw that. Yeah.
And then eventually, the chick like was just like,
and they stopped doing it too, right? Like the rest of them stop and they chime it, and she's the only one that
and
stands
then,
up.
yeah, and then everybody leaves, and then she still adheres to paper.
Right.
I think that's kind of shows you like women's natural submissive nature and nature to comply.
Yeah.
I think men will be more like, why is this fucking thing beeping, and why are you idiots standing up and sitting down?
Yeah.
At least I would be like that.
Right. Well, but and it's also just a survival mechanism. Like if you think back to like old school societies, like if you have like the Mongol horde invaded your city, right?
Oh yeah.
And the girl, it's like, okay, like look, either you're gonna get fucked by like 20 Mongol soldiers, or like if you cause problems, you're just gonna get killed, right? Like so either like and if the Mongol society is just like now your new society, like you used to be like random Central Asian steppe nomad, and now you're Mongol society, right? Like you basically like have no choice but to just like commit to that new society, right? So it's like, and then all the dudes obviously have already been killed, right? So it's like for women, it's like they do definitely have to like, number one, they're biologically built to be able to fuck a lot of guys in the same night, right? Even more than dudes. Like dudes can maybe smash 1, 2, you know, if they're quite powerful, ganky or whatever, excited, maybe 3 or whatever. But women can like, you know, they're basically built like they have to be able to smash a lot of guys, right? Because otherwise,
where did you get that from?
Well, I mean, it's just essentially basic biology. But like, if you just imagine back, like,
are you talking about the book Sex at Dawn or what?
Yeah. I mean that book as well. That's a good book as well too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's Sex at Dawn is a good book. But yeah, just like in terms of like society in the past, it's like the men get killed and the women are they essentially just have to conform to the new society, right? So, and that's still in our DNA. That's still in like what we're doing, right? So, and it doesn't like, it's pretty easy to like think of this as like, women are sluts, women are useless or something. But like, it's just like how people are, right?
I don't agree with the girls like are programmed to get fucked by a bunch of dudes in like one night. I think like
it's not that they're programmed. It's just that they're like, they are able to, right? I don't think they're I don't think they seek it out. They definitely don't seek it out.
That's what I mean. I don't think they're like, I need to go get fucked by 7 dudes.
No.
It could happen in the sense that like, if they do get fucked by 7 dudes, like the most powerful dudes, like first of all, they're more likely orgasm with the guy they feel most aroused and connected to, which will allow for getting pregnant happening. But I think that, and I think this is a big problem with a lot of chicks, the more dudes that a girl lets fuck her, the more like fucked up and traumatized she gets. I've seen it. In my life. Like,
for sure.
They're like, because I mean, you know what it's like when you sleep with a girl who's like 18 to like 23, and she only has like 1 to 3 bodies, which is still possible in Japan. They're like really attached to you, and they form a real deep bond to you.
Sure.
But compared to the girl who's like 28 and been ran through.
Well, it's kind of like it's like a little bit of like chicken and egg as well, right? Because like those girls who do have high body counts, like often had some childhood trauma or something, right?
That too, yeah.
Whereas like the girls who are like, like my main girl is the super petite one. She's got like a nice, happy upbringing, very like, got lots of zucchini and broccoli or nutrients or whatever growing up, and like had like family around or whatever it is. And then my other girl is like a porn star. She's like just been, I don't know, who knows what her past is, but clearly some instability, right? For me, like I like the contrast, as I mentioned before. I like having one thing one day and the other the next. Yeah, and I'm gonna, I could have kids with one. I'm not going to have kids with the other, but it doesn't mean I don't want to hang out with them and, explore that relationship for what it is.
Yeah, it's like it's like eating good food and bad food as a bodybuilder, right?
Yeah.
The chicken and rice is good for you, but hey, sometimes I just want to fucking say fuck it and eat a pizza.
Yeah.
I know it's bad for me, but it feels good, tastes good at the time. But if you make a lifestyle eating pizza,
right.
Now you're fucked.
Yeah. That's true.
So,
that's true.
I just think, I personally, I think a lot of guys feel it too. They feel you have to let go of it, but there's a certain kind of level of, I think, genetically embedded disgust when guys find out a girl's fucked a bunch of dudes. Would you agree or disagree on that?
When a girl finds out,
Well, a guy finds out a girl's been ran through, he's
yeah.
like kind of like genetically kind of disgusted. To an
for
extent.
sure. Well, because she's not. Who knows? If you were to impregnate her and if she was to carry your child, who knows if she's gonna then like abandon it to fuck other right?
Yeah.
So it makes sense. It makes sense, right? Like,
I don't want to like put a hope. I don't want to put like into guys' minds watching like every girl's a turbo whore and like they're all coming to Mateo's house and get fucked. It's more of a common thing for guys. Like for me, like I can't remember the last time I didn't have sex on the first date, and it's just because I'm 35 now, but I've worked years on cultivating my game, cultivating logistics, conversation, banter, seduction, proper timing of touching, all that stuff, to the point that like it's like if I don't have sex in the first time, like what's wrong with this bitch? She must have a boyfriend or something like that.
Yeah.
But then when that happens, you start to think like, oh man, all girls are sluts. Like they all just fuck me on the first date. They all like let me hit it raw. But it's not necessarily that they're all sluts. There is a possibility that hey, maybe you're the fucking man. But like that's when guys who like learn a lot of game, but their internal compass is off.
Yeah.
It can be another self-sabotaging thing.
Yeah, it's tricky. I mean, like, I think kind of like both things are true. Like, yeah, girls, like, a lot of them are, then they might not be sluts based on like their average like life, kind of like how they carry themselves or whatever. But pretty much most of them are quite opportunistic, right?
In what sense?
Like, if a good opportunity comes around, they recognize it, and for the most part, they'll take it. Like, the girls who are not sluts are just good at, like, most of the time, in my experience, they just, like, don't put themselves in situations where opportunities might arise. Right?
Yeah, definitely. They know.
Like, they're the kind of girl who just is like, I'm going to sit at home and read a book or something, you know what I mean? Like,
that's why I tell a lot of these guys, good girls and good relationships are a little bit boring.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are so fucking, they just like need that fucking dopamine hit. Like they need this dramatic bitch. They need this shit. And like girls, especially now more than ever, like how cracked out they are on Instagram. Like they just need some emotional high, like every fucking 30 seconds. They go date the guy that like is like toxic, traumatizing, whatever. But they don't seem to realize like a good relationship and good girls are like kind of boring. But you can cultivate a good relationship out of that, like, and you can make good things from that. But a lot of guys, like, they want to chase the hot girl or the girl with, like, OnlyFans or, like, posting, like, racy shit on Instagram all the time. Like, what do you expect?
And I also, like, there's this weird effect where I feel like guys, like, they want this type of girl. Like, they want the hot girl, but it's sort of like the dog with the car. It's like, I feel like a lot of guys, like, if they actually ended up dating the girls that they think they want to date, they would not actually know what to do with them, right?
Yeah.
It's like they, like, first of all, they'd be, like, constantly in a state of anxiety about what she's doing and who she's hanging out with.
If they don't have internal game that's on point.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's like most of the girls that guys are, like, masturbating about or, like, looking over or something, right? Like they couldn't actually even hang on to, like, okay, maybe you could probably sleep with her once, but, like, she's going to, like, kind of see through this, like, the facade pretty quickly, right? And you're also not, like, the dude's also not going to be able to, like, really, like, relate to her and be on her level. Like, he's going to be, like, constantly worried. He's going to be like, who are all these guys commenting on your posts or whatever, right? So, I mean, it's just like a car, like a dog chasing a car. It's like, what's it going to do when it actually gets the car, right? Like, are you really going to be able to keep this girl around? Like, I mean, I think it's a nice fantasy, I think, right? I think most guys essentially just want like a decent looking girl to be, their girlfriend. And that's like it's a good thing to aspire to, right? Like, but, yeah, dating like very, very attractive girls, it's a fucking pain in the ass, man. Like, honestly.
It's not. I mean, hot girls are cancer. Like they're good. Like on the front end, it's fun to have sex. It's validating, but like they're usually lazy. They're usually entitled. They don't know how to cook. They're usually shit in bed. They don't strive. They don't strive to please you because they think like, well, I'm hot. Like this is all I need to do.
Yeah. They get a lot of validation from the world, so there's not that much pressure to
Be of value.
Yeah, to be of value, right? That's, I've showed up with all this value already, so
Yeah. No, I'll take I'll take a 6 or a 7 that like is, has skills, knows how to cook, how to clean well, how like actually gives effort in the relationship compared to a hot girl who's just hot. But at the end of the day, you're gonna get tired of fucking her too, and then you're gonna be like, okay, now you're hot, but you're just like a fucking liability, and all this liabilities come with pussy. But the average guy will tolerate that shit. Guys like us will just be like, listen, bitch, you need to fucking make some changes, or I'm gonna make a change, and that's gonna be you getting out of my life.
Yeah.
So, but this fucking conversation has just gone all over the place, but in a good way. But that just shows you like the levels of depth there are to like this level of game and this level of understanding women. Like
shit goes deep, man.
Super deep, and we're still learning here. Super deep web of seduction. I think we'll cut it there. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me, man.
You guys are gonna be seeing Mateo and stuff a lot more. He's a friend in real life. I'm gonna try to drag him away from his life of sex and seduction and whoredom and come on the stream a little bit more. But he's literally living the dream. Like this guy, like he's not out there writing blogs. He's not out there doing live streams and like in-field seduction and shit. Like he's too busy having a lot of sex. Okay, and like that, this is what I wanted to bring to the stream. Like, this is an ultra player. What's your body count? Like over 500, probably, right?
Yeah, it's like around 700. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, just there's levels to this game, and I just wanted to show you guys another level. We're gonna be back tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this channel. Hit that subscribe button. I'll be back with Interview with the Man, and until then, we'll see you guys next time. Peace out.